what if there was a tool to make your job easier? Well, if you are a journalist, there is a new such tool in the market for you. It's called Genesis, and it could lighten your burden of work. But before you get too excited, let me tell you that it employs artificial intelligence. If it can take the load off your back, who can say if it would eventually replace you? So what is this tool about? How can it help the journalists out there? Should you be happy or should you be worried? I personally have mixed feelings about it. Let's take a closer look now. Genesis, it's a Google product. It is currently being tested out. It can produce news stories, also pitch them to news organization. It takes in information, details of current events, for example, and generates news content based on those details. But my question is, how credible is this tool? You know how artificial intelligence thrives on data scraping. There is all sorts of information out there on the internet. Would Google's tool be able to differentiate between real and fake news? Would it be able to filter out propaganda? Google is pitching it as responsible tech. The tech giant claims it can steer the publishing industry away from the pitfalls of generative AI. But on what grounds? We'll wait for more clarity from Google on that. Last we checked, its chatbot Bard was presenting multiple incorrect factual assertions. Now to answer if the tool can actually replace journalists. Google believes that it could serve as a kind of personal assistant to them. It could automate some tasks to free up their time for other important ones. And experts say that it cannot replace journalists. The way we report, create and fact-check our news stories, it's something that is beyond the tool's capabilities. What it can do is provide options for headlines or enhance one's writing style, perhaps. Still, some executives have found the pitch unsettling, and I can understand why. Producing accurate and artful news stories takes effort, and having an AI tool for it equates to taking that effort for granted. And if it can really deliver reliable and factual information, it might provide some aid to journalists. But what about topics that require nuance, understanding of different cultures, some humanitarian aspect, a certain level of empathy? Would artificial intelligence do justice to all that? The idea of getting some respite from work is appealing, but it comes with huge risks, ones that cannot be taken lightly. A small error could cost a media house its credibility, and here in newsrooms, we prefer keeping our mistakes off air. We have been writing our own articles for quite some time, and we can continue doing that in the future too. Take a look. Now, these AI tools are trained using those very articles with zero compensation to writers or publishers, of course. Another concerning part is artificial intelligence models are adaptive. They learn from experience. Today, they might be good only for automation or giving headlines. But what if they evolve over time and learn these nuances? What then? Well, that is something that tech experts worldwide have been raising an alarm over. We might see some rules in the future to reduce those risks, but for the time being, artificial intelligence is too new and too volatile. And Gen Z might be making the most of it. Why is that? Well, it is the first truly digital generation, isn't it? For many of them, their first jobs were entirely remote and digitized, courtesy the pandemic. It's true, Zoomers made a rough landing into the workforce. They might lag behind in interpersonal skills, but their innate fluency with technology could help them gain some ground, especially at a time when AI is gaining traction in the modern workplace. Gen Z's openness to new tech is putting them at the forefront. Young people are more accepting and willing to adapt to AI at work, opposing to those oldies who prefer sticking to traditional ways. Gen Z were the first employees to experiment with generative AI tools such as ChatGPT. They used it for tasks such as administration, research, and email composition. For the youth, adapting to AI has become a strategic career move. And as the application of artificial intelligence in workplaces increases, their knowledge can give them an edge over their colleagues who may be less fluent in AI. So should you adapt to AI as well? Is it really the future? Only time will tell. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.